Good evening guys, and welcome to the 5-word match report video and also player ratings for yesterday's match at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It was Spurs 3, AFC Bournemouth 2, and we'll come on to your 5-word match reports very shortly. But firstly, just wanted to offer our sincere condolences and thoughts to ex-AFC Bournemouth striker Benik Afobe. An announcement was made via a series of journalists earlier today stating the following. It is with an extremely heavy heart that the Afobe family have today confirmed the devastating news that their first child, their beloved daughter Amora, aged 2, passed away late on Friday evening. She was taken to hospital for treatment after unexpectedly developing a severe infection. Unfortunately, she then suffered a number of serious complications, and despite doctors doing absolutely everything they possibly could, sadly, Amora passed away peacefully with the love of her family by her side. The entire family have been left totally devastated and heartbroken, and would ask that their privacy is respected at this incredibly difficult time. So we just wanted to pass on our sincere condolences and thoughts to Benik Afobe and his family. So yesterday it was AFC Bournemouth who went home empty-handed at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium yesterday, and afterwards we asked for your 5-word match reports, and these are the ones that you submitted. Chris Churchill, 2 passes too slow throughout. Andrew's life blog, I thought we would lose. Jordan, Callum shouldn't start next game. A lot of people seemingly thinking the same thing, Jordan. Ollie Gates, we need more long balls. Yeah, well, it worked for Spurs, didn't it? Ashley should equalise at the end. Oh, Jan Vertonghen, great challenge, wasn't it? Tommy Heffernan's poodle, frustrating, too little, too late. At least we scored 2, said Andy Gray. And Lewis missed early chances. Congrats, Harry. Yeah, great couple of goals. Long ball frailty cost Cherry, says Jack, and Baby Duck says bench both Fraser and Wilson. 100k a week, you're having a laugh. Also, Colin, Callum's England berth slipping away. You'd think so. It's been abject, hasn't it? Solanke probably offered more, yet even he's getting slated. Gary Chapman competing with the big boys. True, there's another little way to look at it, isn't it? Murky, back to piss poor defending. AFCB Rob, just not quite Spursy enough. Yeah, we just needed that equaliser and then it would have been properly Spursy. Together, anything is possible. Believe, said Simon K. Michael, where has Callum Wilson gone? Martin, 3 soft goals. Oh dear. Ryan Kingham, is relegation a genuine possibility? We've been in this situation before, even worse than the plight that we're in at the moment, and we've managed to get out of it. There are little chinks of light though, aren't there? A little bit of promise, so not quite thinking of the R word yet, but people are starting to look over their shoulders, and that gap that we keep on talking about increasing with Southampton, well, it's not happening. As much as we want to sing that they're getting battered 9-0 at home, we're not exactly getting the results either, are we? Our Goldsmith, Sussex Red, so far but so close. Chris Hubble, a bit more than 5 words, but succinct. I like it. It's not a good day. The team played well. Next time, win away. Yeah, Mel, bench Callum when King's back. Sam Plank, Callum Wilson's lost his pace. Did he have any? Did he ever have? Yeah, he did. Robin, we need Brooks back now. Al, 2 sucker punch long ball goals. Ben, Eddie can't. Still can't organise defence. Scott, becoming concerned. Front line, economising there, 4 words. Matt Adams, leave it for Harry, Callum. Not enough quality like Harry, said Nige, and DJM, to win. Wilson, not Fraser. And we did have another one on a separate thread somewhere. Need Brooks and King back, said Patrick Devitt. Harry Wilson, the better Wilson. It's interesting, isn't it, that our biggest goal threat is one of our players that was much maligned for his general on-pitch performances, yet he's producing the goals when it matters. So yeah, credit to Harry Wilson yesterday. But let's go through the player ratings then. I've taken in a bit of advice through WhatsApp, Twitter, and these are my Scores yesterday. Aaron Ramsdale, I'm going to give him it's difficult because he did concede 3, but I'm going to give him a 7. I think it was solid. He didn't do anything wrong in particular. 7's a good score, by the way. He did produce a couple of great saves from Harry Kane from that angle, and I don't think any of the goals can be put sort of down to him. Distribution-wise, I thought he was all right. Unlucky not to get an 8, really, but I'm going to go for 7 because he can really see what's happening in front of him, and I know that Cook and Stacey are responsible for a couple of the goals, at least the first one. But yeah, I'm gonna give him a 7 there. Jack Stacey, I thought he did all right. Defensively, first goal between him and Cookie, it's a bit of confusion there. I think he's probably sort of culpable there for the second one, not so much. However, going forward, he looked brilliant, and it's great to have that player that actually has the nous to actually go forward, and he's always looking for the forward run. He combined really well with Solanke early doors to set up Danjuma for an early shot, and it was great to just see his confidence getting forward. And also Eddie trusts him at the back as well, because obviously when we're attacking, when we got corners, he's often left as the last line, which I think's of defence, which I think is credit to him. So I'm going to give him a 7 just because there were defensive slip-ups too. Nathan Ake, not often he scores lower than a 7. I'm tempted to give him a 6, but I'm going to give him a 7. Just for his overall play. And then, I thought he showed a lot of intensity towards the end of the game where he wanted to push forward, set up Callum Wilson for that chance at the very, very end. He's got a lot of determination and drive, and he is our mainstay in central defence. So I'm going to give him a 7. Steve Cook, though, 6. I didn't think he commanded the pitch very well yesterday. He got pulled forward into little scenarios whereby, like for instance, their third goal, that little flick from Son, and Steve Cook went in very rashly for the ball. I didn't think he needed to do that. If he stepped back a yard, let him collect it and see what Son's going to do, he probably wouldn't have made that flick had Cook and not actually committed. And then, the Spurs attackers had a lot of the pitch to run into, and then, Sissoko ended up getting his goal. So I'm going to give him a 6. Rico I thought was all right. Unlucky with his shot from distance, actually, and I thought he wasn't bad. I'm going to give him a 7. Let's go into the centre midfield. This all sounds a bit boring, but Jefferson Lerma's also going to get a 7 as well. Thought in the first 15 minutes he was fantastic. He got involved in a bit of a fracas towards the end. Thankfully, he did get red carded. The Spurs players were kicking off like he should have been, but couldn't really tell what was going on there. So I'm going to give him a 7 for a relatively good performance yesterday. There were a few sort of wayward moments. Lewis Cook, 6. Spread the ball around sort of quite nicely, but that's really all he did. Now, there was a match earlier this season where he played alongside Philip Billing, and I thought he was almost too deep, and that's where I actually wanted him today, because the space in between the lines between our defence and midfield was huge, and it lended itself to having one of our midfielders just sitting back a bit, but we pushed too far up, gave them loads of room, and they exploited it with their runs in between the line, and 2 of their goals were simple balls over the top, where it's just in that space that's going to confuse defenders and our midfielders. And there was that chance for Son where he had a shot from an angle into the side netting where Lewis Cook just completely lost his marker. I think he did create a couple of chances, but I'm going to give him a 6 really. Not all that confident when he's in the side at the moment. Danjuma, not bad on the ball, had a couple of shots on goal, 7. Looking more composed on the ball than I thought he would be, to be fair. But I thought he did all right. Defensively, not the best. For Sissoko's goal, he just sort of watched their 2 attackers. Was it Sanchez as well on the right-hand side? If Sissoko didn't score it, the other one would have. And Danjuma didn't exactly bust a gut to get back. It was just Rico dealing with like a couple of players all on his own in the middle of the pitch there. Steve Cook had committed. I would give him a 7 for his overall contribution, but yeah, I think he needs a bit more defensive help. He's not defensively minded. Fraser, 5 or 6. 5 for Fraser. Produced a good cross for Danjuma. He should have got a shot on goal, but he didn't. Somehow he miscontrolled it, and that then got Son on the break, just pulling wide. It was a great counter-attack by Spurs, but Fraser, yeah, wasn't at the races at all. Fizzed in a number of okay crosses, but it's just not happening for him at the moment. And Callum Wilson is exactly the same, so he gets a 5 as well. It's bordering on a lower score, to be honest. I'm being generous with a 5, but yeah, he's gone missing at the moment, and there have been times where, as I said on the podcast last week, there have always been teams that may struggle in the Premier League, like Sunderland when they get relegated, but they've always got a goal scorer in their ranks. Like Defoe was scoring a bundle of goals despite their relegation. Callum Wilson is not doing that at all. Another Wilson we'll come on to him. Now Solanke, splitting opinion on Twitter. I think he did all right yesterday. There's a lot of people saying he's useless, he's crap, but I thought he was pacey, I thought he was strong. He set up a couple of chances as well, held the ball up well, but when you've got no one around you that's proficient of holding the ball up, what chance have you got? I think he would work a lot better alongside someone like Josh King, to be fair, but he's guilty of not pulling the trigger quick enough, taking an extra touch on the box. He's obviously not really confident, which is fair enough, but you need to be selfish, you need to be greedy. And Solanke, if you start getting greedy and stop being a bit of a team player, that's an awful thing to say, but you know, I think you need a goal, and you've got to think of number one at the moment. I think once you do score, then it could flow, more so than it would for Callum, put it that way. So Solanke I'm going to give a 7 to, and many people will be thinking, how did he score a 7? Because I thought he was all right. I'm one of the glass half full types. Callum Wilson, as I say, yeah, poor yesterday, unfortunately. So yeah, he wasn't too great, but our substitutions, Harry Wilson, going to give him an 8. Got a number of shots on goal, probably got the most shots out of most of our players. Danjuma got a couple on goal, but yeah, was really impressed when he came on, and then he came down that central area of the pitch and made an impact. Great free kick as well, right place, right time for Danjuma's cutback to make it a bit of a contest, and correctly, when the ball was played through from Ake in the final stages of the game, correctly held himself and didn't go for the shot because he knew he was going to be offside, letting Callum in. Of course, Callum didn't convert, but I'm going to give Harry Wilson an 8 because I thought he did very well. And Dan Gosling too, 8. I think he was guilty of not doing better with the shot that Solanke pulled back for him. It was blocked, great chance for us, and then they had that header that brushed the side netting that we all thought it was in. But when he came on, it was so good to see, and it's nice to see a midfielder getting forward into goal-scoring situations. Of course, Harry does, but you know, central midfield-wise, we don't seem to have a natural goal scorer. We know that Dan Gosling can score goals, so I'm going to give him an 8 for that because I thought he did very well indeed. So that's it. Those are my player ratings. Would love to know what you think. Let us know in the comments, and yeah, we will certainly be picking this up again in the podcast, which is downloadable on Monday morning. Do check that out on your favourite podcast app, and there'll also be a video of the match chat too with Jeff, and we'll talk about each and every player and, you know, where did it go wrong for Bournemouth. Thank you for watching. We didn't do any fans interviews this weekend just because there were a lot of dejected people exiting the stadium. We thought, shall we put them through, run them through the mill of having to talk about it all over again. So yeah, we didn't do it this week, but we will be back for Liverpool at home next Saturday. Until the next video, up the cherries.